We're always told fish is good for us, right? But is there a limit? What happens if you want to eat it pretty much all the time? Well, that's what we're going to dive into today. We're going to figure out how you can get all those incredible health benefits from fish while smartly sidestepping the risks. Let's build a protocol for a high-frequency fish diet. And look, this isn't just some advice from a health blog. This is a huge recommendation from the American Heart Association. And that kind of sets the stage for our whole conversation. So 2 servings a week, that's the baseline. The real question is, what happens when we decide to go beyond that? So let's start with the good stuff. What is it that makes fish so special? Why do we call it a superfood? Well, it's not just one thing. It's this unique package of nutrients that, honestly, you really can't get this easily anywhere else. The absolute superstar here is omega-3 fatty acids. Now, these aren't just buzzwords. They get in there and actively work to lower your risk of heart disease and stroke from all kinds of angles. They bring down the fats in your blood called triglycerides, they slow down that nasty plaque buildup in your arteries, and they can even help lower your blood pressure. And for expecting mothers, omega-3s are absolutely crucial for their baby's brain development. It's powerful stuff. But it's not just about the omega-3s. Fish also gives you this powerhouse combo of high-quality protein, so important for muscle health, especially as we get older. Plus, you get vitamin D, which is notoriously hard to find in other foods, and minerals like iodine and selenium, which are vital for your thyroid and just keeping your metabolism running smoothly. It really is a complete nutritional powerhouse. Okay, so if fish is this incredible do-it-all superfood, why do we always hear these warnings about not eating too much of it? This is where the story takes a little bit of a turn. We have to move from all those benefits to the reality of, well, our environment. Right. It's time to talk about the other side of the coin, the contaminants. The very water that these fish call home can expose them, and by extension us, to certain risks that we really need to get a handle on. Now, the key concept to wrap your head around here is something called biomagnification. It sounds really scientific and complicated, but the idea is actually super simple. A small fish absorbs a tiny bit of a toxin. Then, a bigger fish comes along and eats a whole bunch of those small fish, and all that toxin gets concentrated. Then an even bigger fish eats those fish, and the concentration just keeps getting higher and higher. It's basically a pyramid of risk. So here's how it plays out with mercury. It usually starts with industrial pollution, think coal-burning power plants. That mercury gets into the water, and then these tiny microbes convert it into a much more dangerous form called methylmercury. Little fish absorb it, and then, as we just saw, it works its way up the food chain, getting more and more concentrated in those big predatory fish that we like to eat. So there are really 2 main culprits we need to watch out for. First, there's mercury. It binds to the muscle of the fish, the part we eat, and it's especially a big deal for the developing brains of fetuses and young kids. Then you've got PCBs and dioxins. These are nasty industrial chemicals that hang out in the fatty parts of the fish, and they've been linked to cancer. Okay, so we've got these incredible benefits on one side and some pretty serious risks on the other. How in the world are we supposed to make smart choices? Well, thankfully, the FDA and the EPA have done all the heavy lifting for us and put together a really clear set of guidelines. This chart right here, this is your roadmap. It's probably the most practical thing you'll see all day. The best choices column, that's your go-to list. These are low in mercury, so you can safely eat them 2 to 3 times a week. We're talking salmon, shrimp, sardines, all the good stuff. Then you've got good choices, like albacore tuna, a little higher in mercury, so the advice is to stick to just 1 serving a week. And finally, the choices to avoid. These are those big predatory fish with the highest mercury levels. Now, you probably heard me say a serving a bunch of times, so what does that actually mean? Well, the standard adult serving size that all this advice is based on is 4 ounces of cooked fish. And here's the best part. You don't even need a food scale. A 4-ounce serving is about the size and thickness of the palm of your hand. It's a super simple visual guide you can use anywhere, whether you're at home or out at a restaurant. All right, so let's get to the main event. What if you want to blow past that standard 2 or 3 servings a week? What if you want to eat fish constantly, maybe even every single day? Well, that takes a more advanced strategy. It requires a specific protocol to really maximize those benefits and keep the risks super low. So here it is, the 4-step playbook. First, prioritize small fish. Make things like sardines, anchovies, and shrimp the foundation of your diet, since they're way down on the food chain. Second, diversify and rotate. Don't just eat salmon every single day. Mix it up with different kinds of fish from different places so you avoid concentrating any single contaminant. Third, prep it right. Remember those PCBs and dioxins stored in the fat? You can cut your exposure by up to 50% just by removing the skin and fatty bits before you cook. And finally, number 4, budget your mercury. Think of it like a weekly allowance. If you have a good choice fish like albacore tuna on Monday, just make sure you stick to the best choices list for the rest of the week. Easy.
Okay, let's bring all this home. The goal here isn't to scare you away from eating fish, not at all. It's to empower you, to give you the tools to create a smart, personal plan that actually works for you and your health goals.
Now, while this advice is good for everybody, there are some groups that need to be extra careful. Because mercury can harm a developing nervous system, pregnant or breastfeeding women and kids, you all are considered the most at risk. It's so important to stick to these guidelines really strictly.
And one last, really important note, especially for anyone out there who likes to go fishing. The rules are a little different for fish you catch yourself. Local lakes and rivers can have their own unique issues, so you have to check for local advisories. And if you can't find one, the official advice is to play it safe. Eat just one serving of that fish and then no other fish for that entire week. So at the end of the day, the science is really clear. The official word from both the FDA and the EPA is that as long as you're making smart choices using their guidelines, the incredible health benefits of eating fish are going to far outweigh any of the potential risks. So you see, this isn't about avoiding fish, it's just about approaching it with knowledge. The ocean gives us one of the most powerful foods on the planet, but to really enjoy it, we have to be smart. So the question I'll leave you with is, now that you have this information, how are you going to choose to navigate it?